My co-founder, Peter Renton, calls Ron Suber the godfather of fintech. And while I argue with anyone I can find that fintech has been around since the 70s and probably before, it is true that the new thing of fintech didn't really arrive until after the GFC of 2008, 2009. And Ron played a big role in how that played out. Ron is a friend of Lend at Fintech. He's given keynotes at several of our conferences in the past, and most recently he hosted a roundtable discussion with 6 distinguished guests, and Peter and me. This video is a spotlight on Ron Suber to give you a sense of what Ron is thinking about now and how he's framing the current crisis. In this first cut, Ron answers a question posed to him by investor Finn Uppin.
If you look forward 5 years from now, will this be an opportunity or a setback for fintech?
So I think it's a separation and an opportunity. So if we just take what you said, Finn, any company, I don't care if it was fintech or Bitcoin or lending or payments, whatever, if they entered this COVID crisis with declining financial health, high leverage, lacking permanent capital, weak liquidity, they're going down too. And so we see JCPenney and J. Crew and Neiman Marcus and 24 Hour Fitness all going bankrupt. And then our favorite restaurant called Specialties here in San Francisco, gone. So it's not just in fintech and our Lend It world that we're seeing the separation and the hurting of the group. It's really everywhere.
What's particularly devastating for the companies facing crisis right now is that so many of these organizations are led by untested generals, not to mention their lieutenants.
But what we have in this industry is many first-time CEOs, young people who this is really their first rodeo. And everything so far has been up and to the right. They could always get more VC capital on the equity side and debt capital. And when I talk to the young first-time CEOs now, they look like they're chewing glass. They look like they're trying to run their companies on diesel instead of gas.
In this next bit, Ron mentions Perry Raybar of DVO1, who appeared on LFD last week to discuss the data he's seeing in the consumer loan tapes, which it turns out is not showing signs of great distress yet. Ron has a different take on the current data. Here's Ron to explain his view.
We're seeing, and I'm not going to disagree with our good friend Perry Raybar, but the data we're seeing today isn't really the truth about what's coming through the system as these people who make $150,000 and $250,000 are now being laid off.
Next, Ron offers some advice specifically for the online lending community, but this advice could be generalized for just about any business. Cut your burn.
So number one, I would get small in a hurry. I would cut those marketing expenses, move to cheaper real estate, tighten the credit box, and really get to the other side of the pool, as they say. Because I think a lot of them that are monoline are going to drown in the deep end and not make it to the other side because they simply didn't get small enough fast enough.
Here's a bit that really caught my attention, and it's something I've witnessed broadly. I've noticed a large proportion of the people I talk to, very few of which have been spared the economic ravages of COVID, are enjoying their time more than they have in decades. More sleep, more exercise, better food, less travel, less waste. This forced austerity could well be the new normal and become unforced austerity in the near future. Here's Ron's take on it.
People are starting to realize they don't need some of the things they used to do. So I know investment bankers who would fly to Tokyo for dinner and then fly back, or spend all this money on unnecessary stuff. Really, it actually didn't make them any happier. And so while I'm afraid we're all going to snap back and go back to some of those excesses, things that we were doing that didn't really mean that much, didn't really contribute to society, I think people are going to remember and are going to be different. So I am optimistic about the new era and how we treat each other and where we spend our money.
In closing, Ron offers this: get after it.
And I think that this is the time that we, this fintech industry, should be hunting, should be pressing, and should be going forward and innovating and creating something not just to beat the incumbents, but to create something new, a new normal for this new society that they can't get to at the speed and flexibility and quality that we can as a community. I think it's an exciting time, hard, but there is time to make moves now, whether you're running a company or starting a company, to win and win big.
That's it. That's our spotlight on Ron Suber, a man who continues to bless us with his hard work and thoughtfulness as a business and community leader. I'm so happy Ron could lead this open roundtable, and I look forward to welcoming him back to Lend It FinTech Digital in the future. Until next time, keep up the hard work.